You're listening to Get to Know World of Warships, a podcast created by Boggztime and Synpax.
Okay, so here I am, sitting here with Hold My Beer and Non Sequitur of Clan YOLO. Hello, Beer. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you, Non?
Doing great.
Now,
nice to be here, Boggztime.
Now, you guys are friends in real life, is that right?
Yeah. So maybe we're jumping the gun a little bit. But,
they're so interesting. I had to bring it up.
About the clan or whatever. Non and I are good friends IRL. We went skiing a week ago.
Friday.
Yeah, we went skiing it was sooner than that. Whatever. Yeah. So we're good friends IRL. The core group of guys that started YOLO, went to the same college together. We actually met each other through the church at our college.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, we're really good friends IRL, and we enjoy ourselves through IRL stuff and through Warships.
Okay.
And that was actually where YOLO kind of got its first roots, is Beer and another guy who helped start us up. They are both significantly older than I am by about 2-3 years.
Okay.
And so they were...
It's relative.
But I mean, relative for sure. But if you think about college, you're there 4 years, a couple more if you're crazy like
yourself,
you
man.
and
I took
pursuing
5.
extra degrees. Yeah.
I was also there for a master's, so Non and I were there
Oh yeah.
But, yeah.
But we wanted a way to hang out and be able to spend some time with each other, given that people would be graduating and starting real life stuff, and the young one, me, would still be hanging around studying. And Beer found this game. He ran into it. I don't, it might have been through YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
he wanted to start up the clan, and it started as just the 4 or 5 of us wanting to hang out in our spare time as we all went different directions across the country.
Yeah, now, so I know YOLO. I'm familiar with YOLO. I see you guys in, I've seen you guys in COTS. I've seen you guys in clan battles. I see your members, in and about random games. So there's YOLO, there's YOLO with a W, and what else am I missing?
Mm-hmm. So I guess how our confederation or whatever has been sprawling is we started out as YOLO. September 24th, 2017. It was a joke name. It was the password to Astralam and I's ARC server. And they're like, what name should we name the clan? And I was just YOLO. I just typed whatever, and we ran with it. We, 2 years ago, I think, partnered with a clan named Damacha. And I know that there's other clans out there that have, like, 5D, for instance. They have a whole bunch of different clans, and they're very vertically integrated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much members travel between, but it's like very top heavy. Whoever's up in charge in the top, I think, as far as I understand, has like close to executive powers all the way throughout.
Okay.
But basically our relationship with N was simply YOLO was there and we were recruiting and we were full and we didn't want to split, or we were trying to figure out where to send these extra players coming to us.
Right.
And we just found these other guys on the forums. I noticed Arvinex was very fervent and dedicated in how he was updating his posts, so that caught my eye. We chatted, we just started sending players to them. That was it.
Well, Arvinex is Namakia, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's been on here with me before. He came to talk.
Yeah,
Oh,
I remember that. So we've had a loose confederation with them. The only relationship we had is we just sent them players, no
I see.
ifs or buts. Then, over time, Namakia got full, YOLO was full. So, given that YOLO was so old and we had been at the game for a while, and I've kind of what you mentioned previously, like we've been around a while. When we first started, it was like we were very excited to get to what's the second level, Gale,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and like none of us had 210s. We were straight nubs. Like Non remembers it, like whatever. And we were
it was
just
literally a season of Beer in his Hindenburg and 6 rentals.
Yeah, it was like, it was ridiculous, and like we were thinking of really stupid strategies. Like I just cringe to think back, but it was a good fun time. But we grew from there as like really not competitive. started adding more people to the community, there was a spectrum sort of, and even ourselves, like Non and I, we started out not very good stats, like red stats.
Mhm.
So basically, in order to diversify our offerings, we wanted to give a different experience at each level of the clan. So from YOLO, I think this is different than most clans do, is instead of having like YOLO, which was the fully kitted out base, to be the head clan, we split up from there. We created a brand new clan named YOLO-W,
Okay.
and sent people up there.
I
So,
see.
and then the last one to add on there, I guess, is N. We've been growing, and N got full still, so they split into two, and there's another one named Nam. So it kind of goes YOLO W, then YOLO, then Nam, and then Namakya.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And
I didn't know that there was
ultimately-
a such a connection between Namakya and YOLO. That's news to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And here's another little bit of inter-clan connected history that most people don't know about. Dear, you'll probably have to tell the listeners what season it was, because I totally don't remember which one it ended up being. But a long time ago, as we were starting to, get our feet wet in clan battles, we realized we really didn't know what we were doing, and we really wanted some off-season practice. And so Beer kept putting out these posts on forums. He's like, hey, can we find some people to scrim against? We want to get better because we know we suck. I mean, he put it right out there. And the guy that we got in touch with first was actually Synpax.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
And this was
2018. I'm like scrolling back through Discord to find these messages.
And so Synpax actually got back with Beer, and over, I don't know, a couple of seasons of clan battles, maybe 2 or 3, we would have back and forth scrimmages with the clan. At that time, it wasn't known as TNG, actually. Early on, TNG, before they became known as TNG, was actually had the clan tag Iron X.
Yeah, that was
And-
Synpax's original clan. I thought they split from Iron X to, like, people from Iron X left Iron X and formed the New Guys because they had constantly been referred to in Iron X as the New Guys, and they got sick of it, so they left and they went and just were like, I thought that's what I had gathered from him. I could be wrong, but so you guys scrimmed against Iron X back in the day then?
Oh, yeah. And
that's
then
They were outclassing us, but they were very gracious and gave us valuable experience to kickstart our competitive progress.
Well,
Yep.
yeah. It's funny. I feel like since we're talking about scrims, it's worth mentioning that I actually completely I pulled a huge boner when I had actually thought you guys were in charge of the WoW's Scrim Center, which is actually run by the fellows from GGWP, who I recently had on, Sage, Liev, and Hans. So I had originally asked you guys to come on and talk about YOLO, but also the Scrim Center, and that was my fault. I just didn't do my research properly. But you guys do have a unique activity that you sponsor and host and work through, which is Saturnalia. So do you mind giving us one of you two giving us a little idea of what Saturnalia is, how it started, how it's been going so far, and what people should expect from it in the future?
Sure. Do you want to go at this, Non? I can obviously chat, but
Well, you put a lot of the initial work in, Beer. Why don't you go ahead and get her rolling, and then I'll fill in as you need to
Sure.
take breaths.
yeah. So, if you haven't noticed, I'm slightly verbose, so I'll do the best I can to be.
Brother, have you
concise.
listened to my podcast before? I'm like the most verbose person on earth. I'll start asking a question and I'll make 5 statements and then I'll forget what my question was and have to go back. I'm such an idiot in that regard, so please be verbose. I dare you.
There is a
Okay,
reason
all
why
right,
the
all
word
right, all right.
brief is scratched
So-
out on the moniker.
Yeah. So the most verbose way of talking about this tourney. So, to touch back on like the history of YOLO, I guess something that we're a group of 4 guys. We just started recruiting off the internet, and we a fun-loving group basically. And like, our name is freaking YOLO. Like, you have to have like a joking side that's kind of like we're just screwing around for fun. So that's been a thread of just our identity of what we've been doing throughout our history. I also like to point out that before going mid was cool, we were going mid and like having better than average success, I'd say.
So it's your fault then that everybody's
Uh,
good. Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
I thought it was Flambast, but now I'm starting to wonder.
I think Flambast is more popular. I don't know how much people pay attention to us, but like we have been called out before. People have been like, "Oh yeah, the YOLO guys, they're going mid," and like,
Right.
anyways, that's the thing. So to go along with that, we have had a series of like 6 or 7 little just for fun events.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Discord up right here, and I have the channels hidden, so there's enough channels on the Discord for everyone else. But I have like records of all these different things, and they span from something as simple as just a fun night where like somebody hops in with a tier 10 and a bunch of tier 3s try to fight them or something, or like other we've done different contests with various levels of success, but nothing to this level of complexity and as far-reaching, I guess. And I don't know. There was a group of us who were talking and just like trying to figure out what we could do for the next event and what we could do to be the most fun. And somehow a cluster of ideas came together. One was the idea of a battleship-only contest. I mean, it almost was like a win-win idea because like brawling in battleships is fun. No matter who you are, like everyone can enjoy that.
Sure.
And to try to we're trying to, I think, walk in the footsteps of Shipstorm, which is, well, another person who was in the mix at the start of this who kind of lended a little bit of input was Trident, who is now retired but was one of the guys helping us lead YOLO W up until a few months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were looking to provide something that was introductory level, and our aspirations, it's kind of hard to remember fully what our aspirations were exactly. We were just looking for providing people an opportunity to come and play, and I think we were shooting for like 20 teams of 4.
So, sorry, just to be clear, basically,
yeah,
Saturnalia is a homegrown tournament that you guys host, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not always 4v4 battleships, is it? Or is that the format? For...
Well, we've only run one season.
Okay.
And something we recently voted on our planning team was that we're going to intentionally change the tournament in some way to just make it spicy, make it fun between each season. Yeah, so I guess I should explain the basic premise as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 4v4 tournament. It's not necessarily limited to 4v4. We could expand maybe, but we purposely picked 4v4 because it lends itself to not being as, what's the word? Obtrusive on people's schedules.
Sure, right.
And we also make it so that people can bring lots of subs if possible. Yeah, so very fun focused. I mentioned about like the aspirations we had and where we ended up with our first season. I'm still in awe and kind of my jaw's on the floor with the sort of support and overall acceptance by the community that we received. We were puttering around with like $175 in prize pool for a while, and then somehow on the last night for registration, like funds randomly start pouring in, and we ended up with like over $1,000 in prize.
Holy crap!
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I wonder if it was like even a proper move to even allow that much, because that's the precedent we have going forward. Like,
right.
Like,
hey man,
whatever.
start with a bang, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, we were, it was very nice for us. It was awesome for those sponsors because many teams that participated were able to walk away with really nice prizes. And I wasn't able to participate, but I had a lot of fun watching teams play, and we had a lot of feedback from teams. We put out feedback forms, and we're very feedback driven in our development moving forward, to just try to provide a fun way for people to hang out, have an introductory level tournament experience.
Sure, I think that's a great idea. I mean, it is really important to have. I think, forgive me for editorializing here for a moment, but
you're good.
I think oftentimes as people start getting more and more competitive and they start getting better at this game, and their community sort of becomes a bit more weighted towards the experienced veterans in this game, they sort of forget that like there is still a huge portion of the player base that has not got the opportunity to sort of make that transition into, you know, blue-purple stats. Let's just say that, and that they still want a place to play more competitively. You know, even if like COTS only happens what twice a year now. They still want an opportunity to sort of showcase a little bit and play and have fun, and you know, it's important not to forget about those tournaments, and it's important to actually, you know, regard them with some reverence and have fun and enjoy them. So you know, I think it's fantastic that you guys are doing that.
Absolutely. And the other good thing about it is it's not so formal, and that you don't have to confine yourself to, you know, like in clan battles, everybody's got to be in the same clan until recently with the Merc. You know, it can just be you and your couple of buddies, even if you've just been memeing your way up to, you know, tier 5, 6, or whatever. You know, you can take a look at this tournament, say, hey, maybe we grind a little bit and have some fun, you know, and meet some people, learn some things, have a good time, maybe win some stuff. Win-win.
Sure. Felt cute, might win later, right?
Absolutely.
Well, so guys, let's do this real quick, because I do want to move on and chat about, you know, some of the exciting new developments that have actually popped up in the game as of today. So let's do this real quick. I'm going to ask you both to sync a ship. I'm going to ask you to sync a ship real quick, and then we'll go on and we'll talk about the, you know, the commander skill update, and you know, clan battles coming up and the clan brawls. So let's start with you, Beer. If you were given the task of scrubbing one name from the history books of World of Warships, you are tasked with literally taking one ship and saying, who? What would it be?
I feel like...
What's your first instinct? What gives you the most guttural reaction?
Okay, so logging in this morning and starting to sift through all these commander things, which I still haven't done.
Yeah, we'll get to that, yeah.
The initial ship that pops into my head, and maybe I'm syncing this in the wrong way as opposed to how you'd think of, but I'm syncing this ship to put it out of its misery.
Oh, good.
Is the Siegfried.
What?
Because I think...
How dare you, sir? How dare you sink my Siggy?
I love that ship. Me and there's a guy in YOLO that renamed himself Siegfried Scourge because he has like over 300 games, and like him and I will meme around on the Siegfried like all the time. I love that ship, but I think it's gonna suffer with all this changes. I haven't run it yet, but we'll see. My preemptive thought is that if I have to like pick a like traditional pick, I'd have to say Thunderer because that thing's nuts. But
Wargaming already did that for you.
They gave it a 10% dispersion boost today, so...
Yeah, they definitely did that, right? So, okay, non sequitur. What's it gonna be, man? I feel like you may have already... You may have telegraphed
Absolutely.
it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say Thunderer, but Wargaming's taking care of that for me. Previous podcasts have mentioned Petra Pavlov's personally. Although the guy has, you know, a bunch of accolades to his name already, I would like to scrub the paint right off the side of the FDR. Get her out.
You go after the handicapped one? Wow, way to go, Non.
You know what?
You after the CV in a wheelchair. Wow.
It may have, a few struggles getting the planes up and out, but my biggest problem with CVs, and it may not be echoed by the CV players, but as a battleship captain who's often on the receiving end of it, get the spotting out of here. The planes are too tanky. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that's fair. I don't think you're alone in wanting to sink the FDR. You heinous individuals sinking an aircraft carrier named after a disabled man. You are a national embarrassment. Moving on. Okay, so we alluded to the fact that today, as of recording this, which is January 20th, 2021, there began the Commander rework. It was released today, and a whole bunch of people found themselves with new captains. Sorry, not captains, but new skill trees on their captains. Now, everybody's given one free reset per ship. So the ships are allowed to, be respect, since they might not be set up the way that you would ideally like them. But have you guys got a chance to really look through? Have you got a chance to play yet and sort of test out some of the new skills? What's your first impression on this stuff?
I'll say this, is I haven't had the opportunity to play through yet. I actually, by some unfortunate luck, my schedule when the new year turned got switched to 03:30 to noons. So that's a wonderful thing. So I haven't had the time to play on it yet, right?
Yeah.
But I do think that there's a lot of stuff to think about coming in through here. A lot of stuff that's really going to change up a lot of builds and how a lot of stuff is coming down. Most notably, something that you do see across the whole board, you see the breakup of skills like Jote into more specialized bits that make you really kind of think and choose whether, even if it might just be for one consumable or two, whether it's actually worth it to invest those points in just buffing one or two consumables or throw them somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
There's, a couple other changes going through that I think are... Well, it's going to spice things up a little bit, but it's going to change the way people play a little bit too. What about you, Beer?
It's hard to say. I am hopeful that I'm overly an optimistic person. I've played a lot of clan battles.
God, we're the worst, aren't we? The optimistic people. We're like, this might not be so bad. And everyone's like, it's gonna be bad. We're like, come on.
I don't know. Yeah. My perspective is, it's an even playing field technically for everyone. And I'm very clan battle focused. If anyone ever comes to me and says how should I be building my ships, I'm like, this is a random build, you can do that, but this is clan battle build, and I usually try to build for clan battles, and I'll play that in randoms.
Yeah, me too.
Be familiar, but thinking of this in terms of how it affects competitive, because that's how my mind works. I think it opens doorways for perhaps more vibrant ship choices, which I think is the biggest impact on enjoyment in clan battles. Specifically, I think destroyers. I think the dazzle skill is the best thing out of this whole rework.
Yeah.
I think that.
Can you remind the audience what the dazzle skill does?
Yeah, I can pull it up right here.
Yeah,
is that the speed boost when you're not detected?
No, that is the so dazzle's 4 points. Takes the spot of that skill that's nobody took except for that random battleship around the corner that you then cursed out forever. That increased your assured ship detectability from 2 to 3 kilometers. Dazzle, defensive skill 4 points for DDs only. Reduces the accuracy of hostile fire directed at your ship for 15 seconds after you're spotted.
That's right. And
it's a plus 20% dispersion change to shells being shot at you during that time period.
Kuznetsov just stacked on your destroyer.
Right. Wow. I hadn't really. Honestly, I should have looked more fully into the DDs. I feel like the DDs have the most opportunities for a variety of builds, and I feel like it was the same before as well. Where just, hey, you could be a concealed DD, you could be a gunboat DD, you could be a ranged DD, you could be a torp DD. You could be a hybrid, you could be a support DD, I don't know, like Noostra Shimmy or something like that. But I really feel like there's just going to be a ton of opportunities in this one. But it definitely seems like Dazzle's going to be, it's going to be really, really useful. So,
well, especially for competitive, because it fits right into. In competitive, you don't have gunboat destroyers. You have destroyers that are used for getting into caps for spotting. Those are the main uses. And to have dispersion help when you get spotted, specifically by a certain class of ship that will remain nameless. Yeah, I think it'll be helpful.
Do you think it? Do you think Dazzle will help increase the spread of the bomb or the rocket reticle, or do you think it's just gonna be?
No, I don't know. I think the big impact is the cruisers and battleships and whatnot that chip in damage once you get spotted. Like
Right.
imagine an FDR. I think it was mentioned on a previous podcast how the FDR can hover over a Holland for 2 minutes. Like, kind of dumb.
Oh,
You shouldn't do
yes, that was my introduction, by the way, that was my introduction to the FDR in competitive was Gaishu from Gaishu's from they renamed themselves back to Yikes. But Gaishu basically sat on top of my Holland right at the beginning of the game for about 45, 50 seconds, and all he had to do was dodge the you just had to dodge the flak coming in to dodge most of the AA fire, and even though I had DFAA and full AA spec on my Holland, he could just sit on top of it for long enough for all of his boats to just, rain on me, and I thought, this is fine. This is just fine. Nothing is wrong with this. This is fun and balanced. So, yes, it is absolutely a thing it can do.
And you can't criticize me for wanting to yeet the FDR anymore.
Oh, I never
Just
did,
saying.
never would, never have. I feel you, brother.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of clan battles, clan battles, God, some of the biggest news is that Clan Battles Season 12 is going to be 7v7, Tier 9, no CVs. Were you guys thrilled? Were you horrified? Did you not give a shit? What was your initial reaction to that, if you don't mind me asking?
I feel like if I say anything other than I was thrilled, I was thrilled. We're very excited. But I mean, it's just, it's old school clan battles, and like that's fun.
Yeah.
Also, Tier 9 is fun. Those who are in YOLO clan who probably listen to this later will ding me for saying that, like, I've been saying that we're never gonna have a Tier 9 season because of the black.
Yeah.
But here we are. So I mean, we'll see. I think there's other strong destroyers out there right now, and we'll see how impactful the black will be.
Yeah.
I will say I'm excited myself because not having the carrier around for, the spotting, creating crossfires with its armament, stuff like that, it opens up a lot more possibilities as far as the different kinds of comps you're going to see. In at least my thought process is because without that in the equation, you can almost build for comp in a lot more interesting ways. You can lean more towards, one objective with your lineup than what might be standard in the last couple of seasons when we did have carriers present in clan battles. And I think it's going to be really exciting. You're going to see some teams bring some really interesting kind of picks. They might try to center some lineups around some ships that you might not expect. And I think it'll just be an all-out really good time, good refresher for everybody. And I'm absolutely excited. Personally, I think we're going to see some DD-heavy lineups. I think with ships like Mogador, Black, Venom, Kitakaze, I think if you use them, that too. If you build around those as your kind of core focus and then build out from there through the cruisers and battleships that you're going to be picking, I think you're going to have some fun gunfights using, Mogador, Kitakaze, less as DDs even, just build them straight for gun skills and burn down all the super cruisers you're going to see, Alaska, and going up from there, Kronstadt especially.
And speaking of super cruisers, the major difference now for super cruisers like Alaska, like Kronstadt at Tier 9, and of course, Stalingrad's at Tier 10, but mainly for Alaska and Kronstadt, which are both very powerful at Tier 9, is that they no longer get the fire prevention captain skill, which reduces the likelihood of fires. So they're going to burn like battleships in terms of how long, and they're going to burn more frequently because they can't take fire prevention. So they're not going to be able to tank the way that they sort of always have. They're going to be very, very vulnerable to HE spam. So
Well, they're gonna burn worse than battleships because battleships can take skills to prevent that.
yes, yes. So they're going to burn worse than
Absolutely.
battleships, believe it or not. We'll see if
Yep.
that. I mean, honestly, I don't know if that's going to be enough to, Alaskas are so useful. They're accurate. They hit hard. They have good heal. They've got radar. They've got good AA. They're just good. They've got trolley citadel, situation. We'll see. I think that's an interesting. I'm looking forward to. I think that might make it worthwhile at some points to take non-super cruisers over the super cruisers just because of that. So we'll definitely have to keep our eye on that as we go forth. Well, gentlemen, I really appreciate you being here, and I'd like to wrap up, but I'd like to give you the opportunity. I know you guys have heard this podcast before. I'd like to give you the opportunity to poach Synpax and tell my listeners a little bit about why they might want to join any one of the YOLO clans. You wanna take us away, Beer, or is that non-job?
Can I alter my bit to do a pitch for the Saturnalia tournament?
You want to poach us to the Saturnalia tournament?
Well, I feel like, I mean, yeah,
Sure.
I could just say a bit like, join YOLO, we're fun, come talk, whatever. But like, I think my personal baby right now is getting the Saturnalia tournament, allowing. I think there was a lot of people that showed, like, we had some casters show up. We had Zath, Ashley, Game Prodigy, some of these guys, and people were hopping on and they're like, I've never heard of this, even though I personally went and like posted a ton of discords, posted on Reddit, posted on forums, and no one's knowing about it. So
Right.
I want people to know about that. But I mean, yeah, either way works.
Please poach us to Saturnalia.
Okay, sure. So we talked about it a bit. It's a tournament that's focused on fun. We will be doing our best to provide spicy rewards, and it will be hopefully focused more, and not so much not to ding on COTS or anything like that, but I think there's a little bit of mentality that goes into COTS of, well, I know that I'm not going to perform to a certain level, so I'm probably not going to get rewards.
I see.
I invite you to come and check out how we structure rewards at Saturnalia, because regardless of where you place in the end of the season, you have a chance to walk away with some nice rewards, so that's pretty good there.
Okay.
Last
yeah.
season, we actually raffled off some Massachusetts before it left the shop.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So we have a Discord, and we are very community focused and community data driven. So we actually had people vote on like when the next tournament will be. We had people vote on some of the parameters of gameplay, that sort of thing. So yeah, if you're looking for a fun tournament, you just want to hang out and have a chill time, hit us up.
So what Beer's trying to tell you is, right now we're looking at dates. We're looking at sometime after COTS, maybe May, for actually putting this thing, getting her out live.
Okay.
We are currently experimenting, going through multiple rounds of playtesting, trying to find ways that we can keep things balanced and fun for all of you, but also find a way to include not just BBs. We want to get times of BB on BB, cruisers on cruisers, and DDs on DDs going through this tournament, so that anybody who has a preference for one or the other can actually come in and have a good time with their buddies, come out with some shiny stuff, hopefully, and maybe stick around for the next time we put her on.
Fantastic.
We are always
Sounds
looking
good.
for, teams to come out, help us test, help us get this thing ready, get it looking good for you guys, so you all can have a good time. We've got a testing session coming up tomorrow. That would be Saturday. Next week, right?
No, it's this Saturday, but tomorrow it's.
Yeah, today's Wednesday.
Oh my god! See, this is why my days get screwed
Hey,
up
man,
when you switch your
the
work
whole
schedule,
last
boys.
year has been nothing but a blur to me, so I don't blame you.
Oh, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I was
testing session coming up.
announcing this, Don, so good for you to remember to announce this.
Oh
I
yeah,
was like, I know
testing
I'm
session
supposed to say
coming up.
something.
We're going to be trying to provide a little bit of cash prizes for you guys just coming out, giving us a hand, trying to polish this thing up, get it ready for you, just for your time and your effort in giving us a hand. So for any of you who show up and are already giving us a hand, if you're already doing that, thank you so much. And thank you for your time. And we hope to get this thing all ready and nice for you come May.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well,
To tie back into the Captain Skill Rework, We've done some testing prior to this, but we're gonna have to like retest everything with all these captain skill reworks. So that's part of why we are really looking forward to get a lot of testing in.
It makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. Wonderful. Well, gentlemen, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that there's a link to the Saturnalia Discord. There's a link to the YOLO Discord. Any other links you guys would like, they'll be down in the description below. So please check those out. Go check out what they're doing because it's a lot of fun. And yeah, thank you very much for coming, gentlemen. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us, Bogsy. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
You too, guys. And go out there, have fun with the new Commander skills, everybody. And thank you all for listening to Get to Know World of Warships.